This is a continuation of the video on God's avatars, why and when, number 1, a dialogue between Brahma and his son Narad, explaining how God takes birth on this earth to remedy the defects in living of people, to overcome the powers of evil. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna had made a promise, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever the forces of good, of virtue, are being undermined, I take birth to overcome them. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharam sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. From age to age. His birth is not confined to any one period of time. His commitment is to provide succor to the noble souls, destroy those who act evil, and establish the rule of law, of compassion, piety, and truthfulness in all times. Brahma was narrating to Narad how the evolution has taken place, how God has come from time to time. In between he says, the real God resides in your self as your conscience. He is present 24 hours. This is also his avatar. All through your life you can consult your conscience to do the right thing. Do not drown the voice of your conscience in the dark, murky pits of falsehood, violence, greed, lust and cruelty. So advised Brahma. Continuing the narration, he said, at another point of time, 5-year-old Dhruva, sitting beside his father, King Uttanapada, was berated by his stepmother, Suruchi. Under divine inspiration, Dhruva walked away from the comforts of home and sat in deep penance in a jungle surrounded by tall deodar trees and warbling birds. Even the magnificent peacocks dancing with their plumage of gold, green and purple outspread, their shining blue necks and regal crest could not distract him. Bhagwan blessed Dhruva with his darshana and immortalized him as the guiding star dominating the northern part of the firmament, worshipped by Maharishis. I have seen him, my father, said Narada. Even the Saptarishis perform his parikrama. He guides sailors and travelers all the year round. Shining bright and golden, he remains steadfast in the skies. Is he not an example of unwavering faith in our noble beliefs? Did the Almighty make Dhruva a model of his virtue? Yes, son, well understood, replied Brahma. There is a purpose in whatever God does. We ought to look for it with faith and devotion. God was incarnated as Prithu, who changed Prithvi into a cow to provide the creatures with milk, butter and nutrition. Born as Rishabdev to King Nabhi and his wife Sudevi, he set an example of detachment, equanimity and peace of mind. Sitting as unshakable as an inanimate object, Rishabdev performed yoga sadhana. The rishis said that Rishabdev had attained Parama Hansa Pada, the status of an ascetic of the highest order, as close to God as can be through his still immobile sadhana, thus opening a path of bhakti and yoga for others to tread upon in their pursuit of the divine. As Hegriva, Bhagwan offered us the precious possession of the Vedas and all possible knowledge. Once again, he saved the Vedas from drowning in the Pralaya waters in his Matsya avatar. I have tried to give some paintings, pictures, sculptures of various avatars in this video. Please look at them carefully. Understanding them would not be a problem. In Matsya Avatar, Bhagwan provided succor by supporting Prithvi as a boat to ferry mankind that was drowning. See, Narad, all this illustrates the point I had made earlier. He comes to our rescue in any form. Just look around carefully in full faith. Narad reacted, I want to know more about him. I don't want to miss anything, Father. The variety of Bhagwan's interventions and avatars is amazing, my son, said Brahma. When the Devatas and the Rakshasas, in order to take possession of Amrita, the nectar of immortality, set out to churn Kshir Sagara, the ocean of milk, Bhagwan assumed the form of a tortoise to support the Mandarachal mountain that was being used as a pivot. Please look at the Samudra Manthan painting included in this video carefully. Would you believe that the continuous rubbing of the mountains eased the itch on his back and he could sleep in peace for some time thereafter? One of the well-known avatars is that of Narasimha. The Devatas were being harassed by the Rakshasa Hiranyakashipu, who was protected by some boons that I had granted him in my misplaced generosity. Brahma, referring to his misplaced generosity. He had become so insolent that he openly denounced Bhagwan and inflicted untold cruelties on his young son Prahlad, who was a devotee of Vishnu, the supreme deity. Hiranyakashipu looked fearsome. He had sharp and shaggy jaws, his eyebrows twitched all the time. He had received a boon from me that he would not be killed by a man. Hence Vishnu assumed the Nrsimha avatar, that of half man, half lion. When Hiranyakashipu saw Nrsimha, he attacked him with his mace. But before he knew what was happening, the Bhagwan had caught hold of the mighty demon, laid him flat on his thighs and torn him apart. See the various sculptures and paintings of the subject in this video. I admire the different forms Bhagwan assumed to suit the exigencies of the situation, exclaimed a wide-eyed Narada. My senses are awake, Father. I want to know more. Please continue. Dear son, said Brahma, I am fortunate that I am describing the exploits of Bhagwan to an attentive devotee. This desire to drink his Charnamrit, the washing of his lotus feet, is granted only to pious persons. In this I am twice blessed because I recite and I meditate upon his astonishing deeds. Narad, Bhagwan does not distinguish between man and beast. When a prayer is made for succor, he views all of creation uniformly with equal affection. Once when Gajendra the elephant was sporting in a pond of lotus stalks, with pink and blue blooms, Kraha, a mighty crocodile, tried to catch his leg between his crushing jaws. Gajendra sent out a cry for help. O Master of the universe, O Adi Purush, save me from this beast. Bhagwan lost no time. Riding Garud, he came carrying a Sudarshan Chakra on his finger. With one stroke, he beheaded the furious crocodile and saved Gajendra's limb. Bhagwan Vaman was the youngest son of Kashyap and Aditi. Being an incarnation, he was the repository of every possible virtue. He was born as a dwarf to subdue Bali, a powerful Rakshasa, and grandson of Bhakta Prahlad, about whom I talked earlier. Vaman Bhagwan visited Bali disguised as a mendicant and requested him to give him as much earth as he could cover in 3 steps. Bali, although a Rakshasa, was unusually charitable. He readily granted the wounds. Bhagwan soon assumed a mighty form and began to measure the universe. With the first step, he covered the entire earth. With the second, he covered the oceans. When he had to take the third step, Bali bowed before him, and Bhagwan planted his foot on Bali's head and sent him to Patal Lok, where he continues to rule. Narada, in this episode, you will notice that Bhagwan rewarded Bali with immortality because the king was of a charitable disposition, a virtue the divine admires. The king was ousted from a forcibly occupied kingdom but was restored to a whole new world for all times to come. Very few persons have been rewarded so munificently. Not only that, Bhagwan Vishnu guards Bali's palace as a doorman. Narada was dumbstruck on hearing this aspect of the divine. He could see that those treading the path of truth and charity, even if they committed an error, could still stay in divine favor. Bali, in honoring the mendicant's request, had ignored the advice of his guru Shukracharya, which had been to the contrary. But he surrendered to God. This was the total surrender of a devotee, and he was blessed in return. He was lucky God had stood at his doorstep with a begging bowl. Bhagwan has come to help the sadhus time to time. He reiterated this promise in Bhagavad Gita when Krishna assured Arjuna of his intervention whenever necessary. He came as Dhanvantari, the physician who taught the science of Ayurveda to mankind. Earlier, Dhanvantari had offered Amrit to the Devatas to make them immortal. But Narad had his doubt. Politely addressing Brahma, he asked, "Why do we call men like Dhanvantari, Rama, Krishna avatars? They were born as human beings. They had their shortcomings. How could they be incarnations of the divine?" "A good question, my son," replied Brahma. "When a human being rises to the heights of the Almighty, in his conduct, thoughts and virtues, he becomes Bhagwan. Rather, in this form, he is more useful to mankind. He is recognizable. He is accessible. So even if you doubt Bhagwan's appearance as an avatar, which I know for sure that you do not, look at the exalted human being as God and no less. I had earlier talked of your connect with your conscience. That is as near God as a human being can be within the limits of his body and mind. So human beings must look inwards and seek guidance. This holds true even for rishis like you." Narad wanted to listen to the stories of Ram and Krishna. Brahma told him some other time. Krishna asked Arjun to follow him. He said, "Sarva dharman parityaj mamekam sharanam braja aham tva sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma shuscha." For getting instruction in creeds diverse, just come to me. Worry you not. I shall take care of your salvation against all acts of omission or commission. That is the power of the Almighty who resides in your conscience. You don't have to go far away to seek him. Jai Sri Krishna. Jai Sri Krishna. Jai Sri Krishna.